I guess we started off, you had to call it something, so that's what I always remember it being called, like, the farm, which is kind of a joke.
I went to the crossroads, fell down on my knees.
Hey, Daddy.
How you doing here?
Good.
How you like the country place?
Oh, I like it. We got 2 trees chopped down today. Looked good, and put the trailer up there. It really became like a communal place to go. I mean, it was like a gathering place. He knew if you don't have a family gathering place, somewhere to go to, someplace to be attached to, then you're just scattered out and stuff like that. So it became a place to go to. You went there as a child. All of this came about because your great-great-great-great-grandfather decided to leave from North Carolina.
What?
My father, Herman Taylor, that we called Big Daddy, kind of this Southern patriarch, sort of. He was a tailor from Taylor, which is in southwest Lafayette County. He lived in Oxford. He grew up in a time when people were more wedded to the land. He wanted a farm which was not to be a farmer, but it was his way of staying rooted to a place, His sister, Aunt Myrtle, was married to a Hayes, and they had like thousands of acres over in the Delta that they farmed. And then, they had a real farming operation. And then on my mother's side, the Braggs had a big, farming operation. They were hands-on farmers up in Tennessee. So Daddy just always loved the land. He felt like land was a good investment. Daddy's center of the universe was what he knew, which was Oxford and Lafayette County and all the nooks and crannies and the different communities and things like that. So he wanted a sense of place, like this is my place, this is what I can plant trees on and walk up and down the Highland Trail. We started off as kids, we'd go out there, we'd arrive on like a Friday night, at 1 o'clock in the morning after having left from Memphis, and this must have been about 1959 or 60. Back then we didn't have a trailer or a house or anything on the land, so we would camp out on cots under ponchos. You might wake up in the morning and the cow herd had moved in. I mean, there were mornings when I woke up and there'd be a cow looking at me like, what are you doing here? So that's kind of how we started, sort of like white trash camping, I guess, or something like that. But we would just roam the place at will. You had 263 odd acres, and then you had all the land next to it. You could just run the dogs and go climb trees, chop them down. It was just great, or just be outdoors. Just not do anything in particular. My mother and father never were ones to okay, this is what we're going to do. I mean, it wasn't planned out. It was kind of hey, we brought you out of here, get out of our hair, go do something, go explore. That's what Daddy would say, y'all go explore. Daddy had the vision, blind as he was. He just had the vision, he knew where stuff ought to be. He wanted a higher place. He had figured out where the highest place was on the farm. He had a feel for what was, he could walk over a piece of land once, and he was just seeing with something other than his eyes, and he could get a feel for the lay of the land. Or he'd have me walk him around and put one hand on your shoulder, and then he'd be asking what are we seeing, how tall is that tree, and then he'd have it committed to memory pretty much. So we went up on the hill one day. He said, this is the highest place, and this is where we need to. So anyway, make a long story short, back in the 80s, we put the old trailer by the pond in 1969, and then in 1986, I think we bought a new one and stuck it up on the high point of the farm.
We're so glad to welcome you to Taylor Lodge. I'm standing on what is our
Taylor
new
trailer.
Our new deck.
And then he had somebody cut. I mean, here he was blind, essentially, but he wanted to everybody to have a good view of things.
Daddy, I love this place. I'm glad you bought it. I love this place.
You're reconciled to this group.
Yes, I'm reconciled.
It was just so golden to be going to school at Ole Miss and being like a tailor from Taylor and having this town, I mean, that my generation like had nothing to do with, but you knew that like where we came from. I mean, you could drive down there and like look around at, you know, where your great grandfather had walked around. But then to be able to like for an Ole Miss football weekend, I mean, I wasn't particularly crazy about Ole Miss football, but just the people that it brought together and just the everybody piled into one place and laughing and talking, and you know, you take your school friends out there, just that sort of communal camaraderie, you know, among family and getting everybody together. It's just you really have to, you know, sometimes those can be fleeting moments. I mean, you can repeat them, but you just really have to, you can't take too many pictures and you can't do it enough, you know.
I woke up this morning, get around for my shoes. Everybody got this, oh, walking through the world. Up this morning, get around.